Hi there, welcome in. My name is Junimoo and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be going over the best settings to change in MC Command Center for a much more realistic and immersive experience in The Sims 4. This mod is literally a lifesaver. It does so much and I can't play without it, so let's just get into it. So here we are in one of the side households of my Whimsy Stories challenge, but what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the computer here and go on to MC Command Center. This is where all of our main settings are going to lie, and this is what I'm going to be going over in this video. So these are all the settings that I use in my gameplay. There are tons more that you can find through this mod, but these are just some of the ones that I like. So starting with MCCC settings, a lot of C's there, we get into age settings. Now in this menu, you can change the length of every single life stage in The Sims 4, because I find personally that normal lifespan is too short, but long lifespan is too long. So I change it. So basically what I do is I go into age settings. Then I click this first option here to set the age span duration. Then you can change cat lifespans, dog lifespans, horse lifespans, or human lifespans. So I'm going to be focusing on my settings for humans today, but I do have alternate settings for cats, dogs, and horses as well. I'm going to link in the description below the document that I have made with all of my lifespans and kind of roughly what they all are equivalent to in our world. But let's get into it. So you click on human, and then here is where you click what lifespan you normally play on in the options up here. If you scroll up to these three dots, the option menu, and you go into game options, then go to gameplay, and then go to sim lifespan. This is whatever you're editing. So I normally play on normal lifespan, and that's the one that I edit in MC Command Center. So I'm going to click that. So that's how you know which one to pick here. So I'll go to normal lifespan, and then you have all of the different life stages here. So you can actually individually edit the amount of days a sim lives in each life stage. So my personal settings, and I'm still tweaking these a little bit, so they're subject to change, but right now I have newborns set to 3 days. The default is 1 day. Infants I have set to 6 days. Toddlers are 9 days. Children are 12 days. Teens are 18 days, young adults are 35 days, adults are 45 days, and then elders are 30 days. And this is a brilliant setting for just customizing if you want to like lengthen the infant life stage, for example, and make sure that you're able to get all of those milestones, but you don't want them to be a toddler for ages, then you can tweak that. And it's such a cool thing to be able to do. It really reminds me of The Sims 3. We used to be able to do that in The Sims 3 and customize how many days everyone lived in each life stage. So this just does that for us. The next setting I want to show you guys is autosave. Now, I personally don't have this on in my game anymore because I am a YouTuber and content creator, which means that when I film content, I cannot have my game saving in the middle of a video just in case something happens with the video and I need to re-record. But I used to have this on a lot because I forget to save all of the time. I'll be playing for like 6 hours straight and then my game will crash and I won't have saved that entire time. So it's pretty self-explanatory. This feature automatically saves your game for you in case you're like me and you forget to save it. It's super useful, but do keep in mind it is the same as clicking the Save As button, which just adds a new save to your save game menu when you load up the game. So that can mean that there can be quite a few saves and it can look a bit messy. You might have to like organize it a little bit, especially if you have autosave on a lot. And you can change the intervals for autosave. You can make it autosave only once per sim day, once per in real life hour. You can really switch it up to whatever you need it to be. So to turn this on, you want to scroll to the bottom and say use autosave. And I have it disabled, as I said, but you can enable it. And then if you go into save interval type, this is where you can edit the frequency. So if you wanted to automatically save before midnight during every sim day, which is what I used to do and I really recommend it, you can actually just press this here, pre-midnight alarm. You can do you every real world hour that you're playing in the game, every sim day, or every sim hour. That might be a bit extreme, but maybe you just have a really glitchy game and you can't risk it. So maybe this works for you. Okay, so the next setting that I want to show you guys is under gameplay settings, and it's actually called Adopt Neglected Child. So you'll see I have this enabled here, and what that means is it makes it so that if a newborn, infant, toddler, or child is neglected in your game, in your current household, whatever family you're playing, and that child is taken away by social services, they will actually be adopted by an NPC household instead of just being like culled from the game. Normally, if that happens and your child is taken away by social services, they just disappear from the game. They no longer exist. But with this setting, it means that if you go looking in your world, they will have been placed with some other family. And I just find that so much more realistic. Like your child wouldn't disappear. They would be put in with another family to like foster them or fully adopt them. So I just love this. I love it for the realism. I think it is so good. And I don't know why it isn't an automatic feature of the game, but that's what mods are for. The other setting that I want to go over in gameplay settings here is pause on zone. So I have this enabled. I find this really useful because basically what it means is when you travel to a lot or you travel back to your home, the game will stay paused when it loads in. Normally what happens is you load into a lot, the game is playing, your Sims just start moving and doing stuff. And personally, I kind of hate that because, again, I'm a Sims YouTuber, I'm a content creator, and normally I have to set up actions for my Sims when they load into a lot. I have to change outfits, I have to start conversations to try and like tell a story. So for the game to automatically be paused when I load into it and I don't have to scramble and make sure that it's paused and that no one's moving places that I don't want them to, it's just really helpful. So I personally love this setting. So in our main menu here, the next thing that we're going to go on to is MC Cast. Now there's a lot of things you can do in here. I'm going to skip most of this. The only thing I want to bring up is under this Offspring section. This is unreal. I did not know that this existed for such a long time, but if you play with custom content and mods, specifically custom content, you might know that the children of Sims are not necessarily born with the right skin tones or skin details. They're not like inherited properly. So it's actually kind of difficult to get your Sim children looking like their parents when you have custom content, unless you go in and you like heavily edit them or you figure out which skin details their parents have and then you find them and you put them on the kid. It's very time consuming. So this is what makes it so that they are able to inherit those custom content features. So this is not to do with custom content, but it is to do with their body part values and their fit/fat settings. So normally those are random, but it will actually pull from the parents of the child and say, oh, both of these parents are like lean or fit or a bit overweight or whatever, and it will like apply it to the child. Then use Parents Skintones. Self-explanatory, but normally what the game does is it averages out the skin tones of the parents and picks one that's in the middle. But again, with CC, doesn't really work like that. It always messes up. So I love having this on because it'll just pick one of the two parents' skin tones, which makes it a lot easier. The same with parents' skin details here. If the parent has skin details, including freckles, moles, face creases, then they use one of the two parents' skin details. And then we have bypass blue babies. So this basically means that children will be born in normal human shades instead of any of the like odd skin colors that we have in the game, like green, blue, and purple. This isn't only to do with aliens. I've had human Sims come out kind of blue or gray. If you guys have watched my Whimsy Stories legacy, our first Gen 2 child came out like gray, and I have no idea why. So I think it was because I didn't have this setting on, so now I do. So we will see with his little sister when she's born in the next episode whether or not she comes out blue like he did. So next on MCCC settings, we're going to go to money settings, and there are some really cool features in here, but my favorite, you're gonna see a trend here, is auto pay bills. This is so elite, guys. If you're anything like me, I am always forgetting to pay my Sims bills, and then their power will be shut off, or like the repo person will come over and like start stealing our stuff. So this setting makes it so that if there's enough money in your household funds, the bills will automatically be paid from that amount of money, meaning you don't have to remember to click onto the mailbox or click onto your computer to pay your bills. So I find this so useful. I actually can't live without this anymore. Another setting that I love, and this is for like realistic gameplay, is child support. So to turn this on, you go down to the very bottom of the money settings, you click pay child support, and then you can decide if you want it to only apply to married couples, unmarried couples, absolutely no one, which is what the default is, or all. So I have it set to all. That means that child support will be paid regardless of married status. They don't have to be legally married, but it basically allows you to enable and customize child support payments in The Sims 4. This is incredible for like realistic gameplay. And honestly, like the 100 baby challenge, I would say you could make bank through this specific setting. The way that this child support works is that the money goes into whatever household has the child living with them. So just say you're playing a household where the parents split up and dad moves out of the house and you keep playing the mum and the child. You will receive child support from the dad because you have the child in your household. But in that same scenario, if the kid goes to live with the dad but you keep playing the mum, then the money will be taken out of your household funds and sent to the dad and child. So I just think it's so cool the way that that works. And I'm now kind of very interested in seeing a 100 babies challenge where they have this set up and how much money they could possibly make from all of those like baby parents. The last thing in this specific menu that I want to show you is notification, console, and menu settings. If you go into here and then you go into console command settings right here, you can actually turn on the cheats that you have to type up into the cheat text bar here just automatically forever. So I have testing cheats enabled true constantly on. So I never have to type that up in the little bar up in the corner anymore. Same thing with like, you can turn off headline effects. I actually have it on because I like being able to see what my Sims are thinking and their skills and stuff. You can enable full edit cast mode so you never have to type in that cheat again, which is incredible. You can also go into build by settings and make sure that like debug is always enabled, free build is always enabled, all of these things. It's so good. The next thing that I want to show you guys is MC career. Now, the main things that I focus on in this setting specifically are school homework progression and university homework progression. So this setting allows you to adjust the length of time it takes for a Sim to complete their homework. Because I don't know about you guys, but I always find that it takes Sims way too long to do their homework, especially in university. So I always change this in MC career. So it seems a little bit complicated, but the actual mod does a very good job at like explaining how the percentages work and stuff. So basically it says change school homework progression to be slower or faster between -3 and 50 with a default of 0. So negative means slower progress, it will take them longer. Positive is faster. Every negative point is -100%. So if you do -1, it's 100% slower than it normally is. -2 is 200% slower. So basically, I have put it so that it is a quarter faster than normal by putting 10 in this value box. I am not mathsy at all. None of this actually makes any sense to me. All I know is 10 means faster, and it's not like absurdly faster, but it is considerably faster. So I have both school homework and university homework set at 10. Next, we're going to scroll down. I actually don't play around with a lot of these other setting groups here. I do have MC Club settings tweaked a little bit in that I have members up to a maximum of 20 and my Sims can join a maximum of 5 different clubs. But that's just very like small, whatever. It's not very consequential. However, this next thing really is. So if we go into MC pregnancy here, I have a bunch of things changed under MC pregnancy. So the first thing that I want to do is go into Offspring and go into inherit trait type. So I have this set to inherit a random number. The default is inherit no traits. Basically what this means is it determines whether babies inherit inherit non-personality traits from their parents, how many they will inherit, and whether they will inherit the specified like maximum number of traits or just a random number of traits. So essentially that means it's not their personality traits, it's like hidden traits, reward traits, that kind of stuff. So I like the idea and the possibility that my Sims children can get those same traits from them. In my head, it's kind of like those are learned behaviors, and my Sims parents are like raising them with certain values or certain experiences. That means that they inherited those traits from them. So it makes sense in my head. So I always have this on, and I have inherit a random number because I don't like the idea of just like copy and pasting the traits. I want there to be a little bit of variety. But yeah, and then also under Offspring, I have maximum offspring set to 4. The absolute maximum that you can put under here is 6. I have it set to 4 because statistically speaking, quadruplets can happen and do happen. Not very often, but they do and they can. Obviously, quintuplets and sextuplets also can, but quadruplets you see more in media, and I think it's a bit more realistic to have it as a very, very slight possibility that it'll happen in my game. Obviously, I hope not. That is a lot of kids all the same age. Can you imagine 4 infants? Oh my god. But I do like the kind of chance that it might happen. It adds a bit of spice to my game. Then under the main heading MC pregnancy, if we go into other pregnancy, this is where some of my more realistic settings come into play here, because the first one here is allow pregnancy aging. Pretty self-explanatory. A sim will still age while they're pregnant. Normally in The Sims, if a sim gets pregnant, they stop aging. Their aging pauses, but I don't think that's very realistic. I don't like that. So I have this enabled. It means that they will keep aging throughout their pregnancy. Just, you know, it makes sense. Also, I obviously play with a longer lifespan, so I kind of like how natural this feels with the longer lifespan and the customized age settings that I've put into place. And on that note, pregnancy duration is another one that I've changed. I've actually made it so that my pregnancies last 6 days. Now, I'm still playing around with this and trying to tweak it, but I wanted to do this because default pregnancies are only 3 days, and that means that I'm really, really rushed when I'm trying to do everything that I need to do, like ultrasound scans and gender reveals and baby showers, which is all things that I do through the Realistic Childbirth mod by Pandasama. So I've set my pregnancies to 6 days, which means that each trimester is 2 days long in the game, and I might extend this even further and make it 9 days, which sounds like insane, but I have to play test it a little bit more. But for now, I'm pretty happy with this. Another thing that I wanted to just bring up really quickly was pause on playable labor. I actually have this enabled, so that means that when a non-active played household has a sim going into labor, a message will like pop up, the game will pause, and it'll tell me that they're going into labor so that I can switch households. This is like really great for like rotational play if you want to be in charge of your Sims going through labor or naming their babies. It's also really helpful if you're like a historical simmer in any way. If you play the Ultimate Decades Challenge, it is invaluable because you have to micromanage that challenge so much that this really, really helps. In my realistic, like normal gameplay, it doesn't come in that much, but if I want to be a bit more micromanagey, it's like really helpful. I'm going to go into MC Tuner and change interaction behavior. So the first one here is allow emotional deaths. You will all be very pleased to hear that I have this disabled. And for those of you not in the know, oh my god, in both of my Sims series that I'm currently running, Whimsy Stories and Very Veggie, both of my founders died of emotional deaths before they had children. Sorry, spoilers, but in both challenges, I had to go and find a way to revive them because otherwise the challenges were just ruined and I had already failed. So I had to go and revive them both. And the first time it happened, I was like, oh, this is funny. Like, you know, this is a bit of drama. This is an interesting storyline. Cool, whatever. And I hadn't changed this setting. And then it happened again. And at that point, I knew I was cursed. So I have this disabled now. And it basically means if a sim gets too playful fearful, too angry, or too embarrassed, they can't die. Thank God. So if you struggle with emotional deaths in The Sims, please consider getting this mod and turning this on, or well, turning it off, I suppose, because oh my God, the stress. I also want to show allow monster under bed. I actually have this disabled. If you're like me and you find the monsters under the bed to be so frequent and so annoying, you can just turn off that completely. The concept of a child having a nightmare or a night terror or thinking there's something under their bed is very realistic. I just think it's a really annoying feature of the game and I don't like it, so I've turned it off. Another thing that I want to show is allow multiple BFFs. I have this enabled. Basically in The Sims, your sim can only have one best friend forever, and then if you try to ask another person, the previous best friend will get like upset, I think, and you'll get like a negative sentiment. I don't really think that's necessarily accurate. I think loads of people can have loads of different best friends in different areas of their life at different times of their life. So I like to set this to enabled so that there's no limit to the number of BFFs a sim can have. And the absolute final setting that I want to show in today's video is under MC Woohoo. Now, normally I don't mess around with this too much because I actually have Wicked Whims in my game, and that does all of the like risky woohoo, other more intimate stuff. That takes care of all of that. And if you guys want a video about my settings for Wicked, I will absolutely do that, no worries. But the only thing that I change in MC Woohoo is under other settings, I make sure that autonomous woohoo and autonomous try for baby are both set to enabled. I just really like it when the Sims decide themselves that they kind of want to hook up or whatever. Especially try for baby, it's like a really big indicator to me that they like want more children, even though like I have another mod that does impact how many kids they want and how they feel about children and all that. That's the RPO mod. If you guys want a video about that as well, be sure to let me know. But I do just like the realism of me not having to micromanage every single interaction they have. So that was all of my main MC Command Center settings that I use to make my game a little bit more realistic, a bit more immersive, and just overall more enjoyable for me. If you guys want more videos like this for other mods in my game, be sure to let me know which ones you'd love to see. And if I've missed anything and you guys think that I really should talk about a certain setting in MCC, or if I don't know about one, please do let me know. The thing about this mod is that it's so in-depth and so detailed and so well made that it seems like every time you open the menu, you're finding something new and a new way to change your game and just kind of tweak it more to your liking. So I really recommend getting this mod if you don't have it and you're able to install mods. It is genuinely life-changing. I would not play this game without it anymore. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next time. Bye!